Morning, y'all. Yeah, buddy, getting my quick 10 miles in before work this morning. Training for my first ultra marathon on May 30th. Only a month away. And I'm trying to run 50 miles a week. So far, I have, let's see, I didn't run Sunday. Monday I ran 8 miles. Tuesday I ran 10 miles. Yesterday I didn't run any. Today I'm running 10 miles. That's 28. So I gotta do another 10 tomorrow. That'd be 38. And do a long run Saturday to Sunday. Probably on Sunday because Saturday I have a fishing tournament. So getting it in. Gotta get in where I fit in, you know? I mean, I gotta do at least 40 miles a week. Well, I'm trying to do 50 miles a week. Might even do a shorter run tomorrow so that I can run a long run on Sunday, like 15 miles. I need to start doing longer runs, 15 plus miles. I only have a month, and the last couple of weeks I need to taper, so I can't be doing those super long runs. So yeah, this week and next weekend I'm gonna try to do a 15-mile long run. Last weekend I did a half marathon race, which was good. Plus, because it was a race, I pushed myself as hard as I could. You know, most of them are on the trails, but I also do some road running. This is a paved trail. And the only reason I'm really here is because I was trying to meet up with some people from my local run club. They do a 5 miles at 5 a.m. I was gonna do the first half with them, and then after that I was done doing another 5 by myself, but no one else showed up, which I'm not surprised. I didn't tell anybody I was coming, for one, and for two, I've never been to the 5 at 5 before, so I'm not really sure how it works. I just know when and where they start. So I tried just showing up, seeing if anybody'd be here, but that's okay. I like having my headphones on and listening to podcasts or audiobooks. They help make my time go by faster. And I listen to ultra running podcasts, which help motivate me, you know. I'm gonna start posting these videos to YouTube. These a little bit longer ones. I've been posting reels to Facebook and Instagram. But I like making these longer ones while I'm running. I'm just gonna start posting them to YouTube. I doubt anybody will see them, but if you do, hi. Thanks for watching. I'm out here in Middleville, Michigan, running a paved portion of the North Country Trail. Very beautiful trail. Very beautiful trail. I like running. Usually I like running paved in the mornings and it's super early because running trails in the dark by yourself can be a little spooky sometimes. I don't know why. I'm a big pussy, I guess. I know I'll be alright, but I get a little spooked sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. And plus, it's kind of hard to see out there. There's a lot of roots out in the trails that I run. And I tend to kick more of them when it's dark. But I definitely got to do some of that nighttime trail running, because once I start doing ultras, I'll probably be running at night more, but not at first. I'm going to start off doing 50Ks, a few of those. And my goal is to move up to a 50-mile. Maybe do a couple of those. Move up to 100K. Maybe do a couple of those, and down the road, the 100-mile. It's the big goal. I'm antsy to try one, but I think I'm going to take it easy and run a bunch of smaller ones first. Just get used to running these larger distances. I ran a road marathon last fall, and I started running a year ago, pretty much a year ago today, a year ago and a couple days from now. I started running for the first time in my life. I never ran before. I always hated running, and I was overweight, out of shape, completely out of shape. When I was younger, I never did many sports, but I was really into skateboarding and snowboarding, and those kept me in pretty good shape, especially my legs. But in my early 20s, well, even in my teens, I was really into doing drugs and stuff, but in my early 20s, I got addicted to heroin, and my life went down really quick, and I really screwed up for a few years, in and out of rehabs, sober living homes, stealing from family members, just being a piece of shit in general. Became somebody I never wanted to be. Did things I never wanted to do. And I'm paying for it to this day. About 11, 12 years ago, after trying everything in the kitchen sink, in 2012, I went to jail for a few months. After I got out of there, I moved in with a girl down in Florida, just to get me away from my normal surroundings in Lansing, Michigan, where I grew up, and I did all my partying. Everybody I knew, everybody I was friends with, everybody I hung out with, all partied, all did drugs, all drank, and all smoked weed. And it was really hard for me to get away. So I went to Florida. Sadly, I moved in with a girl who was a drug addict. Not like I was. She had major back issues. Like, she had 3 fusions in her back. So she had some severe pain. But she used that pain to get copious amounts of drugs from her doctor. And she had enough for both of us. And so it didn't take long before I was using drugs again. And she suggested that I go to a methadone clinic. And like most people, I didn't look very highly on methadone clinics. I thought that they were just people looking for a legal high, kind of like what she was doing with her doctors. But I was pretty miserable because I was using her fentanyl, and fentanyl is about the most miserable of opiates you can be on. And So I figured, hey, I'll go to the methadone clinic and get some free, well, it wasn't free. I was medicated at the time, so it was free for me. Some free dope. And I started there. I was using methadone and also using the Percocets and fentanyl while using the methadone. The thing about methadone, once you get up to a certain milligram, certain dose, the other opiates stop working. And so all of a sudden I had to stop using my other stuff because it was useless. And because of that, I kept upping my dose. They just let you up your dose as much as you want, pretty much. More and more and more, I wanted more so I could feel something. I wanted to feel something. I really didn't feel much other than tired. It doesn't give you the high like the other ones do. But I stayed at it, stayed on it. And eventually, I stopped feeling much. I would feel tired because I had a really high dose, because I kept wanting more and more and more. Then I finally realized it doesn't matter how much more I get, I'm not going to feel any better. So I stopped going up and I stayed at 280 milligrams, which is a ridiculously high dose. Ridiculous. Most people at the methadone clinic take less than 100 milligrams a day. Some 20 or 30. I was at 280. I've never heard of anybody doing more than that at a methadone clinic. I'm sure there are people that do, but I didn't know any. But, it started working. All of a sudden, I was content without taking anything else other than weed. I always was a big weed smoker. So I kept smoking my weed, which helped. And the methadone just made me feel, took away my cravings. It made me, because I was such high a dose, sometimes it would make it hard to keep my eyes open during the middle of the afternoon. But I didn't really feel anything. I'd feel relief if, for some reason, I wasn't feeling good or something. After it kicked in, I'd feel a little relief, but I didn't feel high, that's for sure. So I smoked the weed to try to get some high on top of it. And I started getting some stability in my life. And after a couple years of that, I realized I didn't want to be with my drug addict cheater of a girlfriend that lied pathologically, just couldn't believe how she could lie. And finally, she was cheating on me for the last time, and I was done with it. I was ready for a better life. I had my dog, which was the only friend I needed. And I told her I was done. She didn't want to be done, but I was done. I moved out, and I had a job where it was like a Uber Eats job, and for a local company. And most days I made like $20, $30. I wouldn't make anything. And I wasn't making any money. My dad really helped me out and got me a cheap apartment in the ghetto for like 2 months. I mean, apartment costs like $450 a month. Well, little studio. It was me and my dog. It was good, but it was in the hood. It was real hood in the south side of Tucson. And one night my neighbors were having a party. It got out of control, and there was gunshots. And while I was sleeping, the gunshots came through my wall and almost hit me and my dog. It was really close. And that was messed up, but the next night I was starting to think, okay, I need to get out of here. And then the next night, the exact same thing happened again. The neighbors at the exact same place, the same people, got in a fight and started shooting again. This time, I don't know if they went, I don't think they went through my apartment, but I was in fear for my life, and I left that apartment the very next day. And my dad was very nice, and my mom had a next door neighbor who had a house and could give me some cheap rent, like $400 a month, up in Michigan, in Gun Lake. And she said if I can get back there, I can move in there. Well, initially it was you could come live with her, I could come live with my mom, but then she said, you know, my neighbor, blah, blah, blah. So, got on my amazing dad, paid for a flight, let me stay at his house for the last couple days in Tucson, and 3 days later, I was back in Michigan after 7 years. Back to the state I grew up in. Well, I was about an hour away from Lansing, out in the middle of nowhere. And I had no need for friends at the time. I had the best dog in the world. He was the only friend I needed. And plus, the girl I moved in with, next door to my mom's, she was a friend for a couple months. But she let that house go. And 2 months later, I had to move in with my mom and sleep on her couch. Because I was working part-time at a restaurant and not making any money. But my mom let me stay with her and her boyfriend. And I'm glad that happened. She had dementia, an AFib, and she was a bad alcoholic, and she pretty much just drank the rest of her life away. And a year or two later, 2 years later, in 2021, she died. I came home one night and she was dead. She had a stroke. So I was glad that I at least got to spend the last couple years with her. And after she died, that's when a lot changed for me. About 6 months later, my teeth were all messed up from doing a whole bunch of drugs. So I had all my teeth removed and got dentures. And when I got those, I had enough confidence to go look for a decent job. And I found a good job, fertilizing people's lawns for a good company. Started doing that. Oh yeah, I stayed at my mom's house because her boyfriend, I stayed in my mom's old room, they stayed in separate rooms, so I stayed in my mom's old room, started paying him rent, and I'm still there to this day. And still the same company 4 years later. I'm still on methadone, but I've come way down. It's really hard to get off the methadone. It makes me feel really sick if I don't have it. And so I've been slowly coming down from that really high number. And I'm down to about 50 milligrams. And it's still going down. And I'll eventually be able to get off of it. But, you know, I don't feel anything from it. I wish I wasn't on it, but it doesn't, definitely don't get any high from it. A lot of people bash that stuff, and honestly, it is the best recovery technique. And a lot of people I used to use with are dead because of it. So, even though I don't really like methadone, it is the best thing that ever happened to me. It saved my life. And it's given me a life. And I feel like a normal person. And I feel like it doesn't affect me. But I know it does, so I'm working on getting off of it. I really want to. And I'm working on it. It's just a long process. But I'll get there eventually. I still smoked weed a lot until last year. A year ago today, pretty much. A year ago tomorrow. I quit smoking weed, which I smoked a lot of weed. I smoked all day, every day, about an ounce a week. And I have a lot of stomach issues. And with the weed, it gave me the munchies all the time. I just constantly ate so much. I was getting so fat. And it just felt so sick all the time. And so unhealthy. So I finally got up the balls. Quit smoking weed, cold turkey, one day, and I've never touched weed again since. It's been a year with no weed, and a day or two after quitting, I just had all this energy, and I didn't know where to put it, so I saw a video of David Goggins running with Israel Adesanya. I'm an MMA fan. Watch out, guys. Hey, watch out. Watch out. Watch out. They got babies there. That goose was trying to get me when I first went by. Anyway, and they were running, and I don't know what it was, whatever David Goggins said, it made me want to run. And I live by a bunch of trails, so I went out on the trail and started running. Well, at first I ran down the road because I could only run like a couple hundred yards and would have to stop and would keel over and feel like I was going to die. Eventually, a couple hundred yards turned into a quarter mile turned into a half turned into a mile. Next thing I know, I was running 5 miles. Next thing I know, I could run 10 miles straight in the trails. I listened to David Goggins a lot, and he got me motivated when I first started. I don't listen to him much anymore, but at the time it was nice and very helpful. 6 months later, I ran 26.2 miles at the Grand Rapids Marathon. And I ran nonstop, except for the time I had to pee, and a couple times I had to fill up my bottles. I ran in 5 hours and 3 minutes. I'm not fast. I'm not fast at all. But the fact that I did it, I challenged myself to do something hard, and I did it. I was always so weak when it came to self-control. And now I get up almost every day, 3-4 o'clock in the morning, go to the gym, go for a run. I joined a couple run clubs that I do once a week or so. And most of the time I just do it all by myself. My life has changed so much in the last year. I've become somebody that I'm really proud of. Somebody who's not just super lazy. I've always been a big procrastinator and super lazy, and I've never liked myself much because of it. And so I've been pushing through that stuff and really starting to like myself a lot more, learning to love myself, and now I'm running 10 miles at a time, training for a 50-kilometer ultra marathon. Never felt better in my life. Weed, alcohol, and drugs never made me feel as good as running 10 miles does. It is a high like no other. And it gives me some confidence that I've never had. And I'm just really lucky to be alive. Rest in peace to all those that didn't make it through the struggle. I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm also here to show people that are in that struggle that they can make it. They can do it too. No matter what you gotta do. Even if you gotta get methadone and everybody's telling you it's not a good idea and that stuff, just another drug, whatever. If it saves your life, it's worth it. Thank you for listening to this long rant. Hope y'all have a great day. I love you. 10 miles.